Alright, time to read some more stories in my Blue-Haired Angel.
So, what are we reading tonight?
Wait until I get to the page. Here, take a look at the title.
Tank Engine Thomas again. Ooh, are we reading about Thomas's adventures on his branch line?
Mm-hmm, that's right. And our stories are Thomas and the Guard, Thomas Goes Fishing, Thomas, Terrence, and the Snow, and finally, Thomas and Bertie. Now then, let's get started. First up is Thomas and the Guard. Thomas the Tank Engine is very proud of his branch line. He thinks it's the most important part of the whole railway. He has 2 coaches. They are old and need new paint, but he loves them very much. He calls them Annie and Clarabelle.
Okay, 2 new characters.
That's right, Miku. Now then, Annie can only take passengers, but Clarabelle can take passengers, luggage, and the guard. As they run backwards and forwards along the line, Thomas sings them little songs, and Annie and Clarabelle sing too. When Thomas starts from a station, he sings, "Oh, come along, we're rather late. Oh, come along, we're rather late." And the coaches sing, "We're coming along, we're coming along." They don't mind what Thomas says to them, because they know he's trying to please the Topham Hat. And they know, too, that if Thomas is cross, he is not cross with them. He was cross with the engines on the main line who have made him late. One day in particular, they had to wait for Henry's train. It was late. Thomas was getting crosser and crosser. "How can I run my line properly if Henry is always late? He doesn't realize that Sir Topham Hat depends on me." And he whistled impatiently. At last, Henry came. "Where have you been, lazy bones?" asked Thomas crossly. "Oh dear, my system is out of order. No one understands my case. You don't know what I suffer," moaned Henry. "Rubbish," said Thomas. "You're too fat. You need exercise."
Thomas the Tank Engine. That was not a way to treat an engine with disabilities.
I agree with you there, Miku. Anyways, lots of people with piles of luggage got out of Henry's train, and they all climbed into Annie and Clarabelle. Thomas had to wait till they were ready. At last, the guard blew his whistle, and Thomas started at once. The guard turned around to jump into his car, tripped over an old lady's umbrella, and fell flat on his face. By the time he picked himself up, Thomas, Annie, and Clarabelle were steaming out of the station. Come along, puffed Thomas. But Clarabelle didn't want to come. "I've lost my nice guard, she sobbed. Annie tried to tell Thomas, we haven't a guard. But he was hurrying, wouldn't listen. Oh, come along, he puffed impatiently. Annie and Clarabelle tried to put on their brakes, but they couldn't without the guard. Where's our guard? They cried. Thomas didn't stop till they came to a signal. Bother that signal, said Thomas. What's the matter? I don't know, said his driver. The guard will tell us in a minute.
Yeah, about that.
They waited and waited, but the guard didn't come. Beep, 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 beep. Where's the guard? Whistled Thomas.
We've left him behind,
sobbed Annie and Clarabelle together.
Yeah, you did.
Suddenly, the driver, the fireman, and the passengers looked, and there was the guard running as fast as he could along the line with his flags in one hand and his whistle in the other. Everybody cheered him. He was very hot, so he sat down and had a drink and told them all about it. I am very sorry, Mr. Guard, said Thomas.
It wasn't your fault, Thomas. It was the old lady's umbrella. Look, the signal's down. Let's make up for lost time.
Annie and Clarabelle were so pleased to have their guard again that they sang,
As fast as you like, as fast as you like,
to Thomas all the way, and they reached the end of the line quicker than ever before.
Well, that wasn't a good start to Thomas's branch line career.
Touché, my blue-haired angel. Now then, let's get on to the next story. Our next story is called Thomas Goes Fishing. Now, this is a very interesting story.
How so, my little what?
Well, you're just gonna have to listen to the story, and then you'll find out why. Speaking of which, let's begin. Now, Thomas's branch line had a station by a river. As he rumbled over the bridge, he would see people fishing. Sometimes they stood quietly by their lines. Sometimes they were actually jerking the fish out of the water. Thomas often wanted to stay and watch, but his driver said no. What would Sir Topham Hatt say if we were late? Thomas thought it would be lovely to stop by the river. I would like to go fishing, he said to himself longingly. Every time he met another engine, he would say, I want to fish. They all answered, Engines don't go fishing. Silly stick in the mud, he would snort impatiently.
Actually make a good point about locomotives going fishing.
That's right, they actually can't. But Thomas is going to somehow prove them wrong. So let's see how he did it. Thomas generally had to take in water at the station by the river. One day, he stopped as usual, and his fireman put the pipe from the water tower into his tanks. Then he turned the tap. But it was out of order, and no water came. Bother, said Thomas. I'm thirsty. Never mind, said his driver. We'll get some water from the river. They found a bucket and some rope and went to the bridge. Then the driver let the bucket down to the water. This bucket was old and had 5 holes, so they had to fill it, pull it up, and empty into Thomas's tanks as quickly as they could.
I'm not sure if river water is healthy for an engine.
There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, sang the fireman. Never mind about Liza, said the driver. You empty that bucket before you spill the water over me. They soon finished at last. That's good, puffed Thomas as he started, and Annie and Clebo ran happily behind. They puffed along the valley and were in the tunnel when Thomas began to feel pain in his boiler. Steam hissed from his safety valve in an alarming way.
Goodness gracious!
There's too much steam, said his driver, and his fireman opened the tap in the feed pipe to let more water into the boiler, but none came. Oh dear, groaned Thomas. I'm going to burst! They damped down his fire and struggled on. I've got such a pain! Thomas hissed. Just outside the last station, they stopped, uncoupled Annie and Clebo, and ran Thomas, who was still hissing fit to burst, on a siding right out of the way.
The poor engine.
Then, when the guard telephoned for an engine inspector, and the fireman was putting out the fire, the driver wrote notices in large letters, which he hung on Thomas in front and behind. Danger, keep away. Soon the inspector and Sir Topham had arrived. Cheer up, Thomas, they said. We'll soon make you right. The driver told them what had happened. So the feed pipe is blocked, said the inspector. I'll just look in the tank. He climbed up and peered in. Then he came down. Excuse me, sir, he said to Sir Topham Hatt. Please look in the tank and tell me what you see.
Certainly, Inspector.
He clambered up, looked in, and nearly fell off in surprise.
Inspector,
Whispered Sir Topham Hatt.
can you see fish? Gracious goodness me,
He said.
How did the fish get there, driver?
Thomas's driver scratched his head. We must have fished them from the river. And he told them about the bucket. Sir Topham Hatt laughed.
Well, Thomas, so you and your driver have been fishing. But fish don't suit you, and we must get them out.
So the driver and the fireman fetched rods and nets, and they all took turns at fishing in Thomas's tank, while Sir Topham Hatt told them how to do it. And when they caught all the fish, the station master gave them some potatoes. The driver borrowed a frying pan, and the fireman made a fire beside the line and did the cooking. Then they had a lovely picnic supper of fish and chips. That's the English slang for fries. And crisp is the slang word for chips.
Oh, I see.
That was good.
Said Sir Topham Hatt as he finished his share.
But fish don't suit you, Thomas, so you mustn't do it again.
No, sir, I won't, said Thomas sadly. Engines don't go fishing. It's too uncomfortable.
You were right about the Surrey Cameron. It was very interesting. I never thought that a tank engine inside tanks can also be a storage tank for fish.
That is a good one, Miku. But don't say that in front of Thomas. He would not appreciate it. Anyways, let's get on to the next story, shall we? Our story is called Thomas, Terrence, and the Snow. Let's begin. Autumn was changing the leaves from green to brown. The fields were changing too, from yellow stubble to brown earth. As Thomas puffed along, he heard the chug, chug, chug of a tractor at work. One day, stopping for a signal, he saw the tractor close by.
Hello,
Said the tractor.
I'm Terrence. I'm plowing. I'm Thomas. I'm pushing a train. What ugly wheels you've got. They're not ugly. They're caterpillars.
Said Terrence.
I can go anywhere. I don't need rails. I don't want to go anywhere.
Said Thomas huffily.
I like my rails, thank you.
That was a bit rude of him to talk about that tractor's appearance.
Yeah, it was. Then, winter came, and with it, dark, heavy clouds full of snow. I don't like it, said Thomas's driver. A heavy fall is coming. I hope it doesn't stop us.
Pooh!
Said Thomas, seeing the snow melt on the rails.
Soft stuff, nothing to it.
And he puffed on, feeling cold but confident. They finished their journey safely, but the country was covered, and the rails were two dark lines standing out in the white snow. You'll need your snowplow for the next journey, Thomas, said his driver.
Pooh! Snow is silly soft stuff. It won't stop me.
Listen to me, his driver replied. We are going to put your snowplow on, and I'll want no nonsense, please. The snowplow was heavy and uncomfortable and made Thomas cross. He shook it and he banged it, and when they got back, it was so damaged that the driver had to take it off. You're a very naughty engine, said his driver as he shut the shed door that night.
I agree with him. He really is a very naughty engine.
The next morning, both the driver and fireman came early and worked hard to mend the snowplow, but they just couldn't make it fit properly. It was time for the first train. Thomas was pleased.
I don't have to wear it. I don't have to wear it.
He puffed to Annie and Clairville.
I hope it's alright. I hope it's alright.
They whispered anxiously to each other. The driver was anxious too. It's not bad here, he said to the fireman, but it's sure to be deep in the valley. It was snowing again when Thomas started, but the rails were not covered.
Silly soft stuff. Silly soft stuff, he puffed. I didn't need that stupid old thing yesterday, and I don't today. Snow can't stop me.
And he rushed into a tunnel, thinking of how clever he was. But at the other end, he saw a heap of snow falling from the sides of the cutting.
Silly old snow,
said Thomas, and charged it. But he didn't easily get through it.
You mean?
Cinders and ashes,
said Thomas.
I'm stuck.
And he was.
Oh dear.
Back, Thomas, back, said his driver. Thomas tried, but his wheels spun and he couldn't move. More snow fell and piled up around him. The guard went back for help, while the driver, fireman, and passengers tried to dig the snow away. But as fast as they dug, more snow slipped down until Thomas was nearly buried.
Oh, my wheels and coupling rods,
said Thomas sadly.
I shall have to stop here till I'm frozen. What a silly engine I am.
And Thomas began to cry.
Tisk, tisk, poor Thomas.
Yes, poor Thomas. Now he wishes he hadn't been so silly. At last, a tooting in the distance told him a bus had come for the passengers. Then, Terrence chugged through the tunnel. He pulled the empty coaches away and came back for Thomas. Thomas's wheels were clear, but still spun helplessly when he tried to move. Terrence tugged and slipped and tugged, and at last dragged Thomas into the tunnel.
Thank you, Terrence. Your caterpillars are splendid,
said Thomas gratefully. I hope you'll be sensible now, Thomas, said his driver severely.
I'll try,
said Thomas as he puffed home.
Well, it's like you humans always say. Never judge a book by its cover.
Now that's very true, Miku. And we should never, ever judge a person by their appearance. Now, on to our final story for tonight. This story's called Thomas and Bertie. And this is where Thomas actually proves that rail is much better than roads. Let's begin. One day, Thomas was waiting at the junction when a bus came into the yard.
Hello,
Said Thomas.
who are you?
I'm Bertie. Who are you?
I'm Thomas. I run this line.
So you're Thomas. I remember now. You got stuck in the snow. I took your passengers and Terence pulled you out. I've come to help with your passengers today.
Help me?
Said Thomas crossly, going bluer than ever and letting off steam.
I can go faster than you.
You can't.
I can.
I'll race you.
Said Bertie.
Oh, a challenge. Well, I have my bits on Thomas.
That's a good girl. Starting with the railways. The drivers agreed. The station master said, "Are you ready? Go!" And they were off.
All right, the race has begun.
Unfortunately, Thomas never could go fast at first, and Bertie drew in front. Thomas was running well, but he did not hurry,
Why don't you go fast? Why don't you go fast?
called Annie and Clarabelle anxiously.
Wait and see, wait and see.
Hissed Thomas.
He's a long way ahead, a long way ahead.
They wailed, but Thomas didn't mind, for he remembered the crossing.
Oh,
Sure enough, there was Bertie fuming at the gates while they sailed gaily through.
Goodbye, Bertie.
Called Thomas. After that, the road left the railway and went through the village, so they couldn't see Bertie. They stopped at a station.
Beep, beep, beep. Quickly, please.
Called Thomas. Everyone got out quickly. The guard whistled, and off they went.
Come along,
Sang Thomas.
We're coming along.
Sang Annie and Clarabelle.
Hurry, hurry, hurry.
Panted Thomas, looking straight ahead. Then he whistled shrilly in horror, for Bertie was crossing the bridge over the railway, tooting triumphantly on his horn.
oh no, Bertie's in the lead.
Oh dearie me,
Groaned Thomas.
He's a long way in front, a long way in front.
Wailed Annie and Clarabelle. Steady, Thomas, said his driver. We'll beat Bertie yet.
We'll be Bertie yet, we'll be Bertie yet.
Echoed Annie and Clarabelle.
We'll do it.
Panted Thomas bravely.
You can do it, Thomas.
Oh, bother, there's a station.
As he stopped, he heard a toot.
Goodbye, Thomas. You must be tired. Sorry I can't stop. We buses have to work, you know. Goodbye.
The next station was by the river. They got there quickly, but the signal was up,
Oh dear,
thought Thomas.
we've lost.
But he felt better after a drink. Then James rattled through with a goods train, and the signal dropped showing the line was clear.
Hurrah, we're off, hurrah, we're off.
Puffed Thomas gaily.
Go on, Thomas. Catch up to Bertie and overtake him.
As they rumbled over the bridge, they heard an impatient toot toot. And there was Bertie waiting at a red light while cars and trucks crossed a narrow bridge in the opposite direction. Road and railway ran up the valley side by side, a stream tumbling between. Thomas had not crossed the bridge when Bertie started with a roar and soon shot ahead. Excited passengers in the train and the bus cheered and shouted across the valley. Now Thomas reached his full speed, and foot by foot, yard by yard, he gained, till they were running level. Bertie tried hard, but Thomas was too fast. Slowly but surely, he drew ahead, till whistling triumphantly, he plunged into the tunnel, leaving Bertie toiling far behind.
I've done it,
Panted Thomas in the tunnel.
we've done it, hooray, we've done it, hooray.
Chanted Annie and Clarabelle. Whistling proudly, they whooshed out of the tunnel into the last station.
Hooray, Thomas wins.
That's right, my blue-haired angel. Our little blue tank engine has proven that rail is much, much better and more useful than the roads.
Yes, he did, my little one. One day, when I'm able to get out of this little house, I hope to see the world was traveled by the railroad.
You will eventually. We just need to find the right time. Anyways, let's finish the story. The passengers gave Thomas 3 cheers and told the station master and the porters all about the race. When Bertie came in, they gave him 3 cheers too,
Well done, Thomas.
said Bertie.
That was fun. But to beat you over that hill, I would have to grow wings and be an airplane.
Thomas and Bertie now keep each other very busy. Bertie finds passengers in the village who want to go by train and takes them to Thomas. Thomas brings people to the station for Birdie to take home. They often talk about their race, but Birdie's passengers don't like being bounced like peas in a frying pan. And Sir Topham has warned Thomas what happens to engines who race at dangerous speeds. So, although, between you and me, they would like to have another race, I don't think they ever will. The end. So what do you think of Thomas's stories in the branch line, eh?
Very good, Cameron.
I'm glad to hear that, Miku. Well, this is where we'll stop for tonight. We'll read some more tomorrow.
All right, my little one. Come here, my little one. Let's get some sleep. Good night, my little one.
Good night, my blue-eyed angel. I'll see you in the morning.